Rollover is a really fun trick to teach. It's a really cute one, and there's loads of tricks you can tie it into. You can tie it into where you pretend to shoot your dog, and then they play dead. You can tie it into teaching your dog to hold or unroll a blanket, hold the corner of the blanket, then do a rollover and turn themselves into a little puppy burrito. So you can. There's loads of opportunities to take this further. We're just going to be looking at the basic rollover. So in order to do that, you want your dog, obviously you want to get them in a down. If you don't know how to teach a down, you've got a fold back. Good, which is where you assume your dog is square and draw a line from their nose to their back feet and click the second their elbows hit the ground and then their bum if they do like a little bow. Or you can do a bit of a puppy one. Ask your dog to sit. Draw a line, good, between their front paws and click as soon as their elbows hit the ground again. Simone's had a down for a long time, so he's made that look really, really easy, but there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube. I think I've done one myself, which I will post as well so that you can have a go at that. Once your dog is in the down, we need to take them out of a Sphinx down. So a Sphinx down is where they do a nice balanced down and their hips are square like Timon is now. We need to shuffle their bum over one way or the other, like that. Now some dogs have a preference, so what you want to do is take their nose and turn it towards their opposite shoulder, the shoulder that you want their hip to go in that direction. And you can practice with both sides. So like I say, some dogs will have a preference. Good boy. And you need to figure out kind of which one to work with first. I always work with my dog's preference first, and then I still train the other side because it's important that you work the muscles on both sides of your dog's body and that they're balanced. Super. So once you have that, I'm just going to turn Timon around so you can see him slightly better. You were in exactly the same position. You're going to get them in the down, and then once they're happy to pop onto that other hip, you're just going to keep pushing their head in the direction of that same shoulder. You want to keep their top line as level as you can where possible. So you want to imagine their spine is one straight line, and I'm actually, because Timon is quite bendy, going into his hip, and he's learning to balance himself. Now this can be a nice and slow progress. You don't need to push the dog. He is the one moving himself. I know it looks like my hand is pushing him, but I'm literally just luring him with the treats. So he's basically folding himself in half there. And that's alright. If your dog has a little freak out, that's fine. Some dogs are belly up dogs. Pumbaa is one, which is why he's not being used as a demo dog for this, because it's what he does all of the time. Timon is not such a belly up dog. I don't think he naturally goes on his belly ever. And they can be uncomfortable with this. So it's not something that we need to push or force or anything like that. So take your time, let them have a chance. And it's quite scary to learn that at some point they will push themselves over and they don't like it. So it doesn't have to be a case of scaring them. You can see I'm taking my time with him. Yes, good boy. And where I know he's just pushed himself past a bit where he's quite worried, I'm helping him out and I'm giving him lots of food for it. Let's drop the kibble on him. Good boy. And when you get over the other side, you're going to give them a whole handful of treats so that they learn that actually doing that tip themselves is much, much more beneficial than not. Ready? Down. Yes. Good boy. So I'm marking that point where he's tipping himself over. Super. Once your dog's got the hang of that, you're going to work on removing the food. So I'm going to give him that treat for being on the floor, and then I'm just going to see if I can use the same hand signal. Yes, good boy. So he did all of that without any food in that hand. And I'm getting the other hand to deliver the food very quickly. Oh, so close. Yes, good boy. Good boy. So he's learning that that tip is actually, the faster that happens, the easier time he has. Good. Right, so when you've got it on a hand signal with no food, you can start to add the verbal cue. You've got to scritch. Or you got to scritch. Ready? Down. So I'm going to say roly-poly. Yes, good boy. And eventually I'll say roly-poly and he'll do it before I get a chance to lure him over. Come on in, this way. Down. Roly-poly. Yes, good. This way. Down. Roly-poly. Yes, good. So you can see that as he becomes more and more familiar with the feel of the behaviour, he's actually not worrying about it so much, and he's doing it much more fluidly and less awkwardly. Roly-poly. Yes. This way. Down. Roly-poly. Yes. Come on here. Down. Roly-poly. So I'm giving him a little bit of a break, just half a second or so, to do the behaviour before I lure it with my hand. Down. Roly-poly. And you can see that he started to pop his hip over there before I'd even lured him. Catch. Yes. Roly-poly. Yes. At some point when you're practicing this, he will just flip over and he'll do it without you having to lure him. Roly-poly. Yes, good boy.